What's up, boys and girls? How are we doing today? Welcome. Good to see everyone. All right, I am going to get rocking and rolling here in just a second. It's good to see you guys. I'm happy to have y'all here. Let me just make sure I tag everyone, get everything all set up properly, and we're going to rock and roll. All right. How's everyone feeling today? Give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me whatever if you can hear me and if I'm coming through loud and clear. I'm going to make sure the chat's pulling in. Usually I just got to do like a quick sweep of a few things to make sure that everything's looking good, and then we're going to rock and roll. So I'm stoked to see you. I see a couple of y'all in here, so it's good to see y'all. Not sure exactly where you're at from the platforms just yet, but I'm going to check in on you in a second. Please give me a comment. Let me know where you guys are at. And I am going to get this thing rolling. All right, today we're going to do a little bit more dialing. I know last week we didn't do as much dialing. Last week we really kind of drilled down on list management, and I was going through a bunch of stuff on that. Today we're going to do definitely more dialing, so I'm pumped for that. Just let me make sure everyone's all here together, and then we're going to party. Sweet. I see a few of you guys over in 7-Figure Remote Sales Pros. If you're in 7-Figure Remote Sales Pros, let me know. Good to see y'all over there. And then I see a couple of y'all over on YouTube as well. Good to see y'all. If you're on YouTube, let me know. All right. Sweet. Who is ready to dial? How many dials have y'all been doing? I would love to know while I'm getting everything pulled up. How many dials have you done this week? What have been your results? Talk to me. Let me know just kind of how you've done overall. If you're hitting the dials, if you're sending SMSs, how many appointments have you set? If you're setting appointments, if you're a business owner, if you're a sales rep, even if you're a closer, are you setting some appointments? Are you really working your pipeline, getting people back on the phones? That's what I want to know from y'all. So while you guys do that, I'm going to be pulling this stuff up on my end. Everything's looking like we're good to go. Should be straight, actually. Boom. All right, gold. Now I got the chat. I see all you guys. Heck yeah. What is up, crew? Give me a little bit of love. Let me just know that you guys are with me, that I sound clear, that you all can hear me. I'm also feeling a little bit needy today, so if you want to give me a little bit of love. Speaking of love, I had a client send me this hat the other day, which is pretty sweet. He went to the Masters with his dad, so I got my hat from the Masters, which I was pumped on. So you like that? All right. So I got a lot of announcements. I got a lot of stuff to cover. I want to hear what you guys are feeling overall, and I'm feeling like pumped today. What up, Tyler? I see Tyler. Good to see you, bro. I'm feeling pumped today. I'm really excited. I'm about to hit these dials. I've been having a lot of fun just talking with business owners of all kinds and just learning so much lately. I've really been just learning and obsessively learning, right? So we're implementing a fuck ton of new plays right now. A lot of this stuff's working pretty well, so I'm pretty excited about it overall. All right. Let me see where my party people's at. Pimpin'! Someone said pimpin', and I like that. You want to know a funny fact? I rank for the word pimp on Google, and so I get really good amount of traffic from Google organic for the word pimp because of our training on pimps and persuasion, which if you guys haven't seen the training on pimps and persuasion, I highly recommend you check that out. That training is powerful. The reason is because pimps are some of the most persuasive people on earth. Even though what they're doing, we may not morally or ethically agree with it, it's still worthwhile to study what they're doing and then figure out how to use what they're doing in terms of their rhetoric tools, their persuasion, and all the mechanisms that they're using for mind control. We want to learn that stuff and then repurpose it over here for good, so we can help people transform their lives, so we can help people say yes to the transformation that they've been wanting forever, and to really help them lock in. So I want to rip on a few things, and then we're going to pull up and we're going to hit the dials. And I got a good list today. I'm pretty pumped overall just to chat with some folks and kind of see where this leads. Also, if you guys have any leads that you want me to call, I'll call your leads for you if you put a lead in the comments. I always love calling leads for you guys. I'll set an appointment for you just for you showing up and being brave enough to put one of your leads in the comment. If you do, you may need to give me a little bit of context on just what your guys are selling and pretty much like what the conversation had been leading up to that point, so I have the context going into it. But even if you don't give me that context, I'm still happy to call them because I just like getting into those situations and seeing what will happen. So for y'all, if you check that stuff out, or if you drop a lead, we'll definitely make sure we give your leads a ring and get some deals popping. So just a quick check. How many appointments have you guys set this week? I know we got a good gang here right now. See about 16 of you guys. So how many appointments have you set this week? That's what I want to know. How many appointments have you set this week? Drop that in the comments. Let me know exactly how many appointments you've set this week. I want to get a good sense just overall like how you're doing and what potential sticking points. If you haven't set any of the appointments, some of you guys may not be on offers, and that's okay. But if you are on an opportunity and you're working that opportunity, what have been your sticking points on that opportunity? What do you feel like you're not quite where you want to be in terms of your lead gen or appointment setting goals? All right. Let's rock and roll, you guys. Let's rock and roll. So one of the things we've been talking about inside of our trainings with the members of the Remote Sales Pro Bootcamp and with members of Scale Your Sales as well is we've been talking a lot about the brain and just like the fundamental architecture of the brain and how the brain works in order to get us to take action, right? And so everything that we're doing here comes down to our ability to generate dopamine in the mind of our prospect. I'm going to repeat that because that's a bar. Like, this is a writer downer, you guys. Everything that you're doing depends on your ability to trigger dopamine in the brain of your prospect, right? So when you guys can really trigger that dopamine and you know exactly how to do that again and again, that's where you guys are going to see your just results start to level up in a big way. And what would you do if you had to trigger dopamine in someone, right? How would you trigger dopamine in someone? Someone said, give them the dope. I agree with that. That's why, in fact, there's a joke inside of Wolf of Wall Street where he's introducing everybody that's going to be on the sales floor. And he's like, oh, this guy sold weed, that guy sold weed, that guy sold weed, that guy sold weed. Like, everyone was a drug dealer. And the really funny part is in fact, a lot of my greatest lessons did come from guys who were selling weed or selling drugs in general. And a lot of the business owners that I know who are amazing have backgrounds where they had sold drugs or they had sold weed or had sold something at some point like that. Because doing that helps just you learn what the dopamine fueled brain does, and you learn how to communicate with the dopamine fueled brain, and you learn how to give people what they want and set everything up like that. And so it's a bizarrely good place for people to learn how to sell, and it's funny we see it inside of that movie, but it's because it's just real. Like, you learn how to really, really sell well when you are dealing with those types of people and like what people are going through. And so ultimately the big thing is dopamine gets produced inside of our brain stem, and then it moves up into the limbic system, which is like your nucleus accumbens, and it goes to the ventral striatum and those sorts of places inside of the brain, which are about like kind of middle part of your brain. So if you look like right here where your temples are and right here where your third eye is, that intersection is kind of where that mesolimbic system is. And so effectively what's happening is the dopamine production starts here in the brain stem, moves forward into this mesolimbic system inside of our brain. And the brain stem is what moves us, right? So we move as a result of what's happening in here. And so something I've been thinking about a lot lately is how your prospects will say stuff like, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. Right? I'm wanting blah, blah, blah. And so looking for or interested in or wanting something, these are really good words that you can do to trigger dopamine effect inside of the brain of the people. Which, who here knows my cold calling opener? right? Have you guys seen my cold calling opener? If you haven't, you guys will learn it in a second. But if you've seen my cold calling opener, you'll know what my transition statement generally is, right? And if you don't know what it is, hang tight because you're going to hear it in a second. But the whole thing is that statement is there to produce dopamine. That's why we say what we say. It's because it helps us produce the dopamine in the brain for the prospect that we need to produce. And when we do that, then our prospects are really like hooked on the idea of working together to really want what we have to offer them. And that's the goal. So I had this one experience where I was working with a sales manager and he almost broke up with me in terms of like how sales management worked at that place, because the sales managers would pair up with the reps and you guys would kind of pick each other almost like in a dating or a courtship style process. And the sales manager specifically, he almost broke up with me and he told me, Mike, I'm gonna have to stop sitting on your tables. And I was like, why? And he said to me, because they don't want it, right? And inside of the sales floor where we worked, where I first learned how to sell, was in timeshare. The old saying was that the sales rep's job is to make them want it, and the manager's job is to make it affordable, right? And so the premise was that wanting was what led to everything else. Wanting is what led to everything else. And now, where a lot of novice sales reps run into trouble is they confuse interest with desire. It's a big difference to be curious about something versus being serious about something, right? It's a big difference between being interested in, right? Like, oh yeah, I might go on a date with that person, and having real desire, like I'm obsessed with this person. And that difference, your ability to read that difference is going to go a really long way in your guys' ability to produce results as a salesperson and to effectively allocate your time and energy, because so many sales reps will get caught up, and so many business owners will get caught up in wasting time with prospects who are interested, but they're not actually committed, right? They're interested, but they don't have real desire. And they think that, because they're interested, it means that they want it. It's a big difference between interest and desire, right? There's plenty of things I'm interested in. There's a few things that I really want, right? And the way I move and the way I behave for the things I really want is completely different than how I act and operate for things that I'm interested in. So identify that level of commitment in your prospects. That's a big factor. But you being able to trigger dopamine through your language patterns is a big factor as well of being able to find the desire that exists inside of them and then amplifying and channeling that desire onto whatever solution you have. So the desire is going to pre-exist inside of the mind of the prospect. Our job is not to create the desire. Our job is to amplify and channel the desire onto the product so that they have high levels of wanting, right? High levels of wanting. I want them to want it. They have to want it. If they don't want it, we're screwed. Once they want that thing, everything else is easy. So that is what I wanted to run over with you guys. If you have any questions on that, please drop any questions there in the chat. In the meantime, I'm going to start pulling some stuff up, and I'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I'm going to start pulling some stuff up, and we'll see where we're at here. So one thing I was just doing before I came on, FYI, is I've been importing lists, very similar to what I was doing last week. I've been merging CSVs, importing lists into the CRM, tagging, cleaning, making sure I've been doing this stuff properly, because it's simple to do, but it's simple not to do. But if you keep your CRM clean, you have decent CRM hygiene, you don't need to have the best in the world. Everything doesn't need to be super organized, but you need to understand how your CRM works. And when you have good CRM hygiene, your leads are clean, you're able to make sure you have good names, you're not messing up because you're not messaging the wrong people with the wrong message, stuff like that. CRM hygiene goes a really long way. So, all right, we are going to rock and roll here. Also, if you guys have leads, I'm going to say it one more time. If you have leads, drop your leads in the comment, because I will call your leads for you and I will book an appointment for you. And also, Mark says that he's got one set for the week. Slow start to the month in car sales. Sweet. Good job, dude. So that's one car sale or one appointment set is what I'd be wondering. But no matter what, at least you got that momentum. All right. Is there anything in particular that shows the difference between desire and interest? That is an amazing question. So Tyler just asked, Is there anything that shows the difference between interest and desire? And yes, there is. So one of the things that we teach a lot, and if you guys haven't gotten Objections Don't Exist, you may have missed out. We did a flash giveaway. We gave it away. So we charge I think it's $97 for Objections Don't Exist. I don't even remember. But we did a flash giveaway last week, and some people ended up being able to grab Objections Don't Exist for free. And if you guys want something like that, make sure you're on our email list. And if you want to get on our email list, go to coachingsales.com. Now, with that flash giveaway, though, in Objections Don't Exist, we talk about how do we know the difference between desire and interest inside of that training. And it comes down to one key idea. So I learned this from my dad. My dad, we would go out, and my dad would say the wildest shit to people. Like, he would essentially, like, call people fat, or he would say things, and people would laugh their heads off. And I would be mind blown, because it was like he would say things that would be normally taboo, but he would joke, and people would be able to pick up that he was joking, and they would let him get away with saying stuff like this. And my dad always used to tell me, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Right? That was something that he just would always drill into me. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And so if we want to be able to distinguish interest or desire, it comes down to the same thing. It's not what they're saying, it's how they're saying it. Right? So, and this is why when I talk about Objections Don't Exist, this is a major factor. It's being able to distinguish when someone wants something and doesn't want something. And if you've ever heard a girl friend zone a guy, that's exactly how interest sounds. Like, if you've ever heard a girl talk about a nice guy, especially a nice, charming guy who she should really like, that's what interest sounds like, right? So it sounds a little something like, yeah, you know, and so generally what's going to happen is you'll hear higher pitched tones, you'll hear legato, so the words get dragged out, they get breathy, so there's a lot of breath that's coming out of the mouth because they're lacking the fundamental tension that comes from desire. When we want something, our bodies will clench down, right? And our bodies will tense up. If you've ever been like completely stunned by another person's good looks, your body like clenches when that happens, because that's an immediate instinctive deep level desire. Right? If you've ever just been stunned by how good looking someone is, like, whoa, like that's what happened the first time I saw Adriana. I just was like, duh, I went stupid, right? And my whole body like clenched down and my gaze narrowed and all of that, right? And my voice actually was shakier than it normally would be, versus when I'm like, a nice girl or someone being nice guy is going to be like, oh, you know, he's really nice. It's just that, you know. And when you hear that, so it's the cadence, it's the tone, it's the amount of breath that's coming out of their voice. Those are the three howls that I want you guys particularly to pay attention to, right? So the pitch, he, instead of like here, this is my normal, they go up into that place, up in there. So you hear them pitch that up. The words get long. I also joke, you know that someone is interested if they sound like Snoop Dogg when they're talking to you, right? If they're like, yeah, you know, it's the SNOOPDOGG, baby, right? If they hear that breathy sort of sound, then that's someone that doesn't want it. They're just interested in it. And it's a big difference. Versus when people really want something, a lot of times they'll sound like they're clenching down. Like they sound like they're squatting or they're bench pressing, things like that. So that's one of the ways that you guys, if you ever are on a call and you wonder, like, how do I know if they're interested or if they have desire? That's going to be how you do it. It comes down to the tone, the breathiness overall, and then the actual like length or cadence of the words themselves. So when you guys really are aware of that, you'll know. Like I can know immediately, oh, this person wants it or doesn't want it. And I don't waste time with people who are interested on my sales calls. My goal is to get someone who's interested off of the sales call as fast as possible and find someone with motivation. So I'll give you guys another quick example. If you guys have ever seen investing in real estate, right? So if you are investing in real estate, and if you guys have checked out any of our previous cold call trainings or somewhere I've done real estate calls, and if you are investing in real estate, you're going to hear a person who's not a motivated seller. If you say, hey, are you interested in selling a property? They'll say, it depends on what you're willing to offer for it. That's someone who they're just interested in selling, right? They're not serious about selling. They're not motivated. They're not distressed. There's no real deep, like, I have to get out of this property now or else I'm fucked, right? That's real desire. Instead, they're like, if someone comes along and offers me the right price, I'd think about selling it. That's not someone who has desire. That's someone who has interest. Versus when you talk to someone, they're like, I just really got to sell this thing because I got it from my dad, and I can't really take care of it from where I'm at. It's too far from my house, and so I'm just looking to get rid of it. I'm looking to get rid of it. Boom, fucking desire, right? Like, I'm looking to do something. I want to do something. That's generally going to be an indicator of desire. What's wild, though, is people who have desire will say they're interested in something as well. It's not as common, but it's how they're going to say that they're interested. Like, I'd be really interested in if you could do this. Like, if they're saying it like that, then it's desire. But if they're like, I'd be interested if you... No, that's not desire. So even if they say they're interested, be aware of how they're saying they're interested, because that's more reliable of an indication of desire versus interest. So, and Tyler says, could they be playing the sales game though? Absolutely, they could be playing the sales game, but you know what? If someone's going to be playing a game with me, in my opinion, I'd rather get to someone who's going to be real with me, because I can do a cleaner deal, I can do a deal faster, I can do more deals that way. And so if they're going to try and play games, then they're going to play games all throughout the entire process, and that's a frustrating person to work with. So they may be playing the sales game in generally, but usually they can't control it. Most of the stuff is so instinctive, it's so beneath the surface that people can't control this stuff. And so, they think, I'm tricking them, but they're usually not tricking them. You know what I mean? Like, they just can't control it. So, all right, let's see what we got here, baby. You know what I want to do? I want to call a certain list of people. So I'm going to pull up a list really fast, and then we are going to hit some dials. Oh, sweet. These are good, too. Let's go. Let's go. All right, I'm going to plug 50 people in. Let me just make sure over here that we're looking good. Sweet. While I'm doing this, if you guys have any questions, because I'm just pulling up a list over here that we're about to hit for the dials. So while I'm doing this, if you guys have any questions, definitely drop any questions that you guys have. That way, this is a really good time for you guys to ask any questions. As well, I encourage you guys, just introduce yourself in the chat, meet the other people in the chat, because if you're here, odds are the other people that are viewing this are probably somebody that might be able to help you at some point in some time. So just the more you put yourself out there, this is sales, right? The more conversations you have, remember that your money is not in my pocket, it's in someone else's pocket, right? So go out there, talk to as many people as possible. That's the key, right? And so if you're going to attend something like this, introduce yourself, meet the people who are in the room, because these people who are in the room are probably the right people for you to be connected with as well. So let me get this rocking and rolling, and we should be good. Sweet. Okay. Yes. Put whatever questions you guys got, and we'll come back to them. I got my list here. Let me clear my manual actions out. Nothing's there. We're good. All right, let's rock and roll, baby. So I'm putting on my power dialer tag. If you guys know what I'm talking about, if you're using GHL, you want to build a power dialer. It will help you guys quite a bit. Power dialers are one of the ways to make your cold calling sessions significantly more effective. If you don't use power dialers, big thing I'm going to tell you guys, I say this all the time to reps. all the time. For you guys, technology is your differentiating factor in a big way. Right? If you guys leverage technology and you get better at leveraging technology than other folks, you're going to have so much more opportunity, right? We live in an era where this is a technological game right now, and if you're not really committing to mastery and you're not learning the technologies, like, I cannot tell you guys the amount of time I spend on websites reading documentation about software. Like, the amount of time I've spent reading Open API documentation, reading GHL documentation, reading LinkedIn automation tool documentation, reading documentation for Facebook automation tools. Like, sit down and read the manuals of the tools you guys are using. These companies are trying to help you leverage your tools better. They put together amazing resources. There's so much out there for you guys to be using and like leveraging, and just, you got to sit down, you got to study your tools, right? Like, same way that if you're going to be a great carpenter, you got to know all the different saws, when and where to use them, how to use them. Well, same thing goes with sales. You're going to have to do this same thing with your guys' technology stack here. So I want to encourage you guys, make sure you're using your dialers and everything.
Please leave your message for 5.
Hello.
Roger, how you doing, man?
Good.
Good. It's Mike. Mike, Mark, you reached out because you're looking to hire some commission-only sales reps like a month ago, I think?
I can't understand you. You're echoing and I can't understand you.
Here, hold on. How about now?
That's a little better.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, no, I was saying you reached out to us like I think a month ago because you're looking to hire some sales reps.
Is this what's the name of your company again?
CoachingSales.com.
Oh, no, I'm not ready to do anything yet.
Oh, you just not having the lead flow, or?
I got a machine running in the background and I can't hear half of what you're saying, Mike. I'm not trying to be rude to you.
No worries, no worries. If you want, I could give you a ring at a better time.
I'm probably looking end of summer, maybe middle fall before I'm able to sit down and talk about anything.
Okay, that makes sense.
I've got so much on my plate with the construction I'm trying to get out of. I'm not ready to move forward on anything else yet.
Oh, I see. You do construction?
Yeah, I do contracting work, and I'm trying to get out of it and just concentrate on my marketing agency. But it's going to be like summer, early fall before I get to it. Cool.
And then, are you doing mostly single family, or are you doing more like commercial contracting stuff right now?
No, I do handyman stuff, exploring, just small jobs. I got out of GC work.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Too many headaches.
Are you thinking about doing the agency specialize on tradespeople, or are you looking at a different niche altogether?
No, don't be mad at me. I'm every time hearing you. I'm trying to run equipment, and right now is not a good time to chat with you about it.
Okay, no worries. I'll give you a holler some other time.
Then I've got to get on the ground.
All right, go do it. I'll give you a holler some other time.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye, Roger. All right, I'm going to pause dials, and now I just want to regroup with you guys. So what did you learn from that call? What did you learn from that call? Put that in the chat. I want to learn what you guys learned. One key thing I tell you guys all the time, if you guys have ever attended one of these trainings live, I'm going to encourage you guys this. Type out what you're learning. If you type out what you're learning, my dad once told me writing crystallizes thought. And so if you type out what you're learning, you're going to drive the lessons way deeper. You're going to make sure you actually retain this stuff. You're going to make sure you actually implement this stuff. Therefore, you're going to start setting more appointments. You're going to start having more deals closing. You're going to start getting more results. You're going to start making more money. You're going to look better naked. You're going to have a great time because you just typed out the damn answer here in Facebook. So I'm going to encourage you guys, type out your answers, drive your learning home, make sure that you're really taking stuff away from this, and it's not just entertainment, but it's actually something that you're implementing and it's getting you results. Because at the end of the day, I want you guys to be sending me messages going, holy fuck, Mike, I used that cold call opener, or I used that psychological trick that you guys showed on the live session, and I just got my first appointment book, I just got my first sales. Those are the messages I want to get from you guys. So drive the learnings home, make sure you take this and you implement this. But someone said, you stayed on the call longer than I would. As a result, you found out more about him and his situation. Big facts. That's a great one there. What else stands out for you guys? You don't push, you stick with the I'm here to help mentality. Great. I'm glad you picked up on that. So you notice that I'm not pushing to an outcome or anything, but I'm just curious and I'm nice and I'm persistent, and they could say, hey, it's not a good time. I'm like, yeah, totally. And then I keep asking questions just to keep getting information because he kept giving me more and more. So, had I taken when he said, hey, it's not a good time, I'm doing the equipment and I can't hear you, had I left at that point in time, I would not have known that he wants to leave construction and start an agency or scale an agency. Now I know that. Now I know exactly how to message this guy because he has a job that's demanding. He doesn't want to be doing it anymore. He wants to escape construction. He views the agency as his ticket to freedom. Now I know exactly hell, heaven, and I could kind of figure out the obstacles in between. It seems like being busy is the obstacle that's in between, or not having enough time is one of his concerns, right? And so, but hell over here is being stuck in construction for the rest of his life. Heaven is having a marketing agency and being able to work from where he wants, when he wants, and having a lot more freedom and being more profitable and not dealing with necessarily low-level labor. And then the obstacles are, well, I got so much going on. I got a lot on my plate right now. I got this and that, right? So, someone said, so do you put them in the calendar for June? Good question. So generally, in this case, what I do is I'll make a note inside of the CRM. I'll maybe put a tag or kind of get him into like a warm middle of funnel type of an audience. Because if I could get him into a middle of funnel audience, I want him to stay seeing me all around. Now, if you guys have ever come across my follow-up strategy, we don't have time to go throughout the entire follow-up strategy. Speaking of though, if you guys want me to do a masterclass on my follow-up strategy, put a 1 in the comments, right? If you want me to do a full masterclass, I will hold nothing back. I'll show you exactly the follow-up strategy that I run, and I've been running. 60% of my deals come from follow-ups, right? And a good follow-up strategy is the difference between the guys who can do 20, 25, 30 units a month and the guys who can only do 10 units a month. It comes down to that. So if you want me to do a masterclass on my follow-up strategy, exactly how I run this play, put a 1 in the chat. I already see a couple of you guys dropped 1s in the chat, so I'm glad to see that. But if you guys do, I may do that, and I'll consider doing potentially if I should do a paid masterclass and just be like a little bit more, or if you guys wanted to be a free masterclass. I'm kind of leaning towards a paid masterclass because generally you guys show up better, and I just get more fun crew of folks to work with on that thing. But if you guys want a masterclass on that, put that 1 in. Damn, you guys are awesome. I got a bunch of 1s already. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like about 5 of you guys would be game. So that sounds fun. With this, the follow-up strategy, one of the keys on the follow-up strategy is knowing when to use intimate follow-up versus leveraged follow-up. So this guy, he's not an intimate follow-up guy. He's too far from the hole. If I spend a lot of time trying to intimate follow-up this guy, I'm going to miss my deals. So I want to make sure I'm using leveraged follow-up on him, and I add him to the right audience so that I can stay following up with him or stay in front of him as he's going through this process. I want to be on top of mind awareness, right? And I want to build that relationship over time. And so this dial, even though it doesn't seem like a big deal, he got on the phone with me, he talked to me, he knows I'm a real person, so now when he sees my fucking videos or he gets an email from me, he's going to open that email, he's going to watch my videos, he's going to watch more of our content and start to realize, like, damn, this guy's the real deal. And so when I do have a sales conversation, or if we do get around to having a sales conversation in, say, 3 months' time or 2 months' time, I'm going to be talking with a completely different prospect. His guard will be much further down. He'll be way more open-minded. He'll be more receptive to a lot of my ideas because he's already come across a lot of these ideas, and it's not his first time receiving the information. So I don't have as much of a hill to go up. I don't have much of a burden to go up against in terms of convincing him or any of that stuff. In fact, he'll be a lot more receptive overall. So just a little touch like what we did right now for a guy like that goes a really long way. It goes a really, really long way. And now the beauty is too, I have an idea for a piece of content that I can put out, and there's probably more people like him. So I actually just saw a comment pop up in our Scaling High Ticket group where Paul said, I'm in the same boat as him, LOL, right? So if I put together a piece of content that's talking to Roger, I'm actually going to end up talking to a lot more people than just Roger. There's going to be a lot of people who are like Roger that feel the same thing, that are dealing with the day-to-day of being on site at a construction site, and they're fucking sick and tired of manual labor and dealing with low-quality labor, and they're burning out, and they're trying to get out of that like sweat equity hard work, and they want to have the freedom and fulfillment that comes from running an agency. So if I speak to that audience, I could probably generate a couple calls just off of a post like that, because he's not alone. He's not the only person in my database that's feeling that right now. So he gave me great insight for a piece of content, and we set ourselves up for a future communication for it to work a little bit better. What else? Is there anything else that stood out to you guys about that call? Anything is, before we move on, just any quick thoughts that stood out to you? Someone said, let the market guide you. Fuck yeah, that's a great way to put it. I'm not here to create the desire. I'm here to just identify the desires. And so once I can get clear on a person's heaven and hell, which I want you guys to notice how fucking fast I got clear on his heaven and hell. This dude didn't even need to say much at all. We talked, I'm going to pull up the call record so you guys can know exactly how long we talked. We talked for a grand total of... Ooh, it's not telling me how long we talked for whatever reason. I'll have to figure that out at some point. But I think we talked for maybe like 3 minutes, right? Maybe 5 minutes tops. But inside of that, I found out heaven, hell, and what the obstacles are. So I kind of already figured this out. Here's another thing. This is a dude who on SMS replied stop. So I can't text message this guy, but because I dialed him, I was able to pull him back in. And so there's still life here. There's still opportunity for a good deal. There's still an opportunity for a win-win arrangement where, he gets his outcome, we get our outcome, everyone's happy. But he said no. He already said no to a text message, but he still said, hey, get back in contact in another few months. So I want to point that out as well. Just because someone says no on one channel doesn't mean that it's necessarily a no in general. So, all right, let's keep dialing, baby.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Oh, let's go. Oh, I think we might have frozen over here. Yo, can you guys hear me all right? It looks like my CRM might have frozen a little bit, so I just want to make sure you guys are still with me. Let me double check the chat. Boom. Can you guys hear me all right? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up or just anything. So you guys, I know my CRM froze a second ago, so I just want to make sure that my live stream's not freezing too. All right, sweet. You're all good. That's what I needed to hear. All right, let's rock and roll. We'll keep the dials going. I hope this guy answers. If he does, it'll be a fun call, but we'll see. Bro, my nose itches so bad. I have like one beard hair tickling my nose. It's driving me nuts. Thanks, Tina. All right, sick. Well, he didn't answer, so I'll call him again. Shit. All right, whatever. Little back-to-back dial. It wasn't intentional, but I'll take it.
Hello, Darren.
Darren! How you been, man? It's Mike.
Sorry, Mike who?
Mike, Mark, you reached out because you're looking to hire some sales reps?
Sorry, I'm having a really hard time hearing you there. It sounds like you're in a faraway room.
That's weird. How about now?
No, you're in the distance there.
Let me call you on a different line. Sorry, it's weird.
Okay.
Let's go! We got 2 pickups in like 10 dials. That is not normal. Remember, who knows what a normal pickup per dial rate is? If you guys remember, if you've been here before, drop it in the chat. I want to make sure you guys are paying attention. It's normally not normal to get that many pickups. What's a normal pickup rate when you guys are doing outbound dials? What's a normal pickup rate? It's important to have the right expectations as you guys are doing this too.
Hello?
There we go. Is this better?
Yeah, it sounded like you were on speakerphone standing in another room.
Oh, that's weird. Did you hear what I said?
I thought that it was Mark, I thought, but that was about it.
Oh, no, my name's Mike. Mike Mark.
Mike Mark. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
I'm a guy with 2 first names.
Okay.
Yeah. You could call me Mark and I won't get offended, I promise.
Okay.
Anyway, you reached out a little bit ago because you're looking to hire some sales reps.
I don't know. I don't know if I remember that.
No.
Yeah. Sorry. What is this? What's the organization?
Coaching Sales is the name. I think you'd reached out like back in January. I don't know if it. Normally, are you an agency owner?
Oh, you know what? I was just trying to figure out what it was you were offering and what you were doing.
Are you funnel hacking me, dude?
No,
I'm kidding.
I'm trying to learn what's going on. Yeah, I'm starting a sales training course myself, and I was like, "Oh, what is it he does? Like, is it like so you actually do you would talk to the people that I give you the leads? Is the idea?"
There's a few different configurations that people will work with us in, and so you're going to be selling sales training.
Yeah, so I've been in sales for like 20 years, and I was actually going to sell this mostly to businesses, more corporate type stuff. And now I'm looking at doing it online as well. So I'm kind of multitasking and I'm all over the place. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing.
Cool. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, just like, honestly, like I was like, well, this sales training thing, I've been talking about starting this for years. And I started building it and hopped online and started researching, and it's opened up this whole world that I'm just like, oh my goodness, what is all this, right?
Yeah. And then your whole algorithm changes. You're getting all these different ads now and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I thought, they sell stuff? Oh, okay, that might be of interest. But I have nothing coming in yet. Like, I haven't even started producing anything.
Are you currently still selling?
Pardon me?
Are you currently still selling? Like, are you actively a sales rep on something?
Yeah, I sell roofing and exteriors.
Oh, you sell roofing?
Yep.
Nice, dude. Have you ever considered doing like remote sales?
Again, I've heard about this recently and learning more about it, but I haven't looked at it extensively, no.
Cool. Yeah, a lot of our guys come from like solar, roofing, security sales, life insurance. Like those make really car sales guys. Like if you've been in any of those games, usually those folks do pretty well when they come over to remote sales.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the and then what you do. So like, have you thought about if you're going to do the sales training piece, like what your niche would be?
And that's where because I'm in the roofing, that's where I'm still trying to figure that out. Because I'm doing roofing, I was going to focus more on the roofing for corporate, right? Working with businesses. Just because of circumstances and who I am in the industry, I'm kind of semi-known in the roofing world. So I'm like, maybe I should take advantage of it.
How so? What do you mean? Like, what? How do people know you? What do they know you for?
So I work with a company called Sumo Quote, and they are like taking over the world in quoting software. And his selling process every time he talks is selling me because I sold so much for him. Like an average salesperson, if they're good in roofing, might sell $2 million, and I sold like $9 million. Over the last 3 years, I've sold $18 million.
Bro, that's savage. Let's go.
So
Let's fucking go.
So I've been kind of successful at that. So I'm like, well, how can I take advantage of this?
That makes perfect sense.
You know?
Yeah, because he's basically just running traffic to build your brand, and so now it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know if you like are serious about this or something you're just interested in, but if you wanted to package up something and then sell it to like sales reps in roofing and like smaller roofing companies and kind of scale that way, like that's something you can take and get to 20-30 grand a month pretty rapidly.
Yeah, and that's where I say, like, I was going to just sell it to businesses and kind of go around that way, and then I started looking at the online world, and like you say about building a niche, it's like I can't figure that out, and I actually didn't even think of doing that. I was just like, well, sales training, maybe I could just do a general sales training.
No, that's way too hard. It's just you can get there eventually if that's the end route, but usually what you want to do is you want to focus on a micro niche and then go into bigger niches from there. So, and if you have that case study in roofing, I mean, dude, like, if someone tells me they sold $2 million in a year in roofing, I know they're solid. Like, that's a good rep, right? And so your number is to do $6 million on average per year over the last 3 years is pretty fucking insane. And I've not talked to many sales reps in roofing that have done that. So, like, that's a pretty big.
People are starting to kind of notice me in the industry, so that's where I'm kind of like, maybe I need to take advantage of this.
Yeah, that's a bigger deal than you might realize, dude. That's a bigger deal than you might realize. So, and that's if they're running traffic to you right now, then if you capitalize on that, there's definitely room for you to build like a pretty cool program where, you know, I don't know what your vision is if you're wanting to scale really big or you're looking more for like a lifestyle thing that gives you a lot of freedom, but you could take it either route.
Yeah. So what is it exactly that you offer then?
So in terms of what you're doing, what we primarily focus on is getting all the systems in place for the online sales process. So we do something called the Perfect Sales Team. Have you heard the Perfect Sales Team or any of our trainings on that stuff?
That sounds familiar.
So tell me what you know, and then I'll fill in any gaps.
It just sounds familiar. That's all. I just like.
Okay.
I'm starting to remember, like, okay, the Perfect Sales Team. This might be something that, you know, if I get things up and running, that I could talk to you about, right?
Yeah. So what we normally do is it's a little bit different when you're going full cycle, you know what I mean? Because when you come into this space, like a lot of reps are either used to, like if you're doing door to door, I don't know if you did all the knocking yourself or if you had like tele agents that were setting appointments and you were going up and kind of cleaning up on the appointments.
Yeah, mine was more of the cleaning up on the appointment stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's usually where then the gap is for a lot of guys. Like for me, I came from timeshare, which that's the same thing, right? It was like there's an off-property coordinator that would book the appointments, and I would just take the actual sit downs and then sign them up on the offer. Similar to like what a solar rep would do when they're in-house, or a roofing rep would do when they go do it in-house, or, you know. And so with that though, when we're going end to end on the entire system and building the system, you kind of look at it, I look at it in 3 phases. So you have leads, appointments, and sales. So what the perfect sales team does is it breaks those down into 3 components, and then you have a system that generates leads consistently without you having to like show up and manually do that stuff. You have a system that then turns those leads into appointments consistently without you having to show up and do all that stuff. And then you have a third system that allows you to turn the appointments into sales. Initially, you'll start taking those, and you could do it with leverage. So we could do like one-to-many sales presentations. And then eventually you would have reps that would be selling it for you.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, man. If you want to, what we can do is I can send you some information, and we can set up a time to chat later this week or sometime next week, and kind of that way I give you a little bit of time to go through, get a sense of like everything, and then we could talk about like what it would look like to put together a program.
With that?
Yeah, easy.
Because I've had a ton on the. I'm still selling, right? So that's why I was like, the phone's ringing. I'm like, should I answer it? Okay, I'll take 2 minutes and answer it. So I'm just, that's the problem is right now I'm still working, so I'm doing all this on my free time, right?
Yeah, which I'm sure you don't have a lot of if you're selling $6 million a year. But let me just take a look here next week and see what I got. How's your Wednesday next week look?
That is, just give me a second here. Wednesday, come on. So Wednesday would be the week, that would be the 10th?
Yep.
I'm free after, so I'm out in Vancouver, BC.
Oh, nice.
So I'm free after 12, like lunchtime my time. I should be free in the afternoon. I can make some time then.
And you're 3 hours back. You're West Coast time, right? I'm in Fort Lauderdale. So okay. So what we could do is, if you want, let's do 2:30 your time.
2:30?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, sweet. And then I'll send you. I have an email for you, but I don't know if it's the best one to send the invite to. I got dtsmithbc@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's the one I'm using right now.
All right, sweet dude. I'll send you a calendar invite, and then I'll send you some resources to that email as well. And then I'll probably shoot you a text here just to make sure you get everything. And then we can jam next week and see about helping you put something together.
Sounds good.
Sweet. All right, Darren.
Okay.
Well, I'll chat with you soon.
Okay, take care.
See you, brother. What? Come on, y'all. Too easy. Effortless. 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 God. Woo! Woo! That's how you do it. What did you guys learn? What did you learn? What stood out to you? What are the key insights, ahas, takeaways? What did you learn? Remember, writing crystallizes thought. If you guys put this in, you actually type it out, you're going to take this and get way, 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 way better. So what stood out to you? What did you notice about the call? How did it work? Talk to me, baby. What stood out to you? What do you guys notice? Thank you, guys. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. That was a sexy call. That was fun. That was a really, really good demo, too. That was a really, really good demo. But what stood out to you? Like, what did you see in terms of things that I was doing psychologically? What language patterns did you notice? How did I handle things that maybe you guys can take and implement? That's what I want to know from you guys. How can you guys take this and implement it yourself so that you guys can be able to do this stuff consistently as well, right? And so that you guys can improve, even if you are doing it consistently, you can improve your overall results, right? So what stood out to you? Bam. All right. Sweet. I just had to make sure I sent him that invite, and then that's good to go. And now I want to know what you guys got. Someone said, yeah, competition can turn a partnership so damn fast. That's interesting. Yeah, and the thing is, he's not really a competition because he's a roofing guy. I'm online. Like, he doesn't know what I know, and I to be honest, I don't know what he knows. Like, I'm not that good at door-to-door sales. I literally had never gone door-to-door in my life. But I could sell anybody in the streets. I've sold strangers in the streets. I'm happy to do that all day long. But I've never actually just knocked doors like in a summer day the way that those guys do. Like, I don't know the roofing business as well as those guys would know that, and I haven't been in solar, right? So he's not really my competition. He's in a completely different niche, completely different vertical. Like I could train a door-to-door rep because all the psychological principles of what we're teaching work still, but I'm not their future ideal self. I'm not the greatest door-to-door rep, right? I'm amazing at this game. This is my game, and I know that he can't beat me at this game because I've got 8 years in the trenches of like every day, all day, $500 million in client sales, 3,500 sales reps recruited, 3,500 plus sales reps trained. Like, the amount of time and energy and input I've done to this, he can't catch me. And the truth is, I can't catch him in door-to-door, nor do I want to, right? So, I like how you didn't try to pitch him because I might have. Yeah, you noticed that actually. That's a good one. I'm glad you picked that one up. Yes. So I didn't transition into the demo too fast because I could tell he wasn't warmed up. So so one of you guys caught that. Whoever, let me check who said that because I'll give you a little goodie for that one. Gus, hit me up. I got something for you, dude, because that's a good one. So Gus said, one of the cool things is, you guys, I just want to give a shout out to Gus. Gus has been dominating it lately, and it's a big part of it. He's just been like really showing up to all this shit, and he's like fully in on it, and he's been like re-studying the training again and again and again and again, and now it's starting to get like really deep to where it's becoming unconscious for him, and he's starting to pick up on subtler details. So Gus, shout out to you, brother. I'm really proud to see your progression consistently, and the fact that you're here and you're picking this stuff up, fuck yeah. But he said, I like how you didn't try to pitch him because I might have. Yes, I could tell that he was at the point where he has the desire, but the desire is not big enough yet, right? It's not, the desire and the belief are somewhat there, but they're not at the scale I need them to be at for me to be able to drive him to the close. So what I wanted to be able to do was push off, get him into content, have him spend more time, because what's focal is causal. The more time he spends consuming the content, studying, starting to learn these ideas, then he's going to start to be like, oh, dude, I really want to do this. This makes a lot of sense. This seems like a good idea. And so as a result of that, I could tell, so I pushed him, but what I did was, I want to point something out because there's a fucking major little thing that I did right here. So I said, have you heard of the perfect sales team? He goes, yeah, that sounds familiar. Doesn't sound fucking familiar. He probably had never heard of the fucking thing in his life, right? But that doesn't matter, right? Because I said it, he's like, yeah, it sounds familiar. So now what I'm doing is I'm building availability bias. So when I talk about the perfect sales team later, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I already knew that, right? And it's just like, if you've ever, Taylor Swift. I think Taylor Swift is one of the most brilliant marketers, music business people of all time. I cannot stand her fucking music. I think her music is just ass. Like, it's actually amazing songwriting, but it's not my music. Like, it doesn't hit me. It just like, it's like, ugh, fucking hate this music, right? And so Taylor Swift will get her songs on rotation so much that I find myself singing songs I don't even fucking like. That's called availability bias, right? Because it's available and I can recall it easily because I've heard it so many times before that it feels good and I'll sing along with it, even though I don't even like it the first time I've heard it. I can't tell you how many times that Taylor Swift has dropped songs that I am like, I hate this song, and then it's played so much that I catch myself singing it along to it out in public. And that goes a long way to show how genius she really is. But, that being the case, what I was doing was I was planting that seed so that when he watches the training, he remembers it and it draws the inference and like draws that conclusion deeper. Then when we talk about it later, now it's like, yeah, I already know this and this makes sense and I like this and I think it's going to be good for me. So his belief levels and his desire levels will be at the level I need them to be in order for the conversation to actually push to a potential next step or action item. So sick. I'm glad that you guys caught that out. Let's see. You schooled him on starting with a niche. Yes, I definitely, that was a big one. I like how you're guiding him to the final result. Yes, cool. Established authority. Big time. Yeah, and you notice like how I didn't try to make him feel shitty because, so I talk a lot about buyer sophistication. This guy, where do you guys imagine he is on the sophistication spectrum? Like, how sophisticated is this guy as a buyer? That's what I want you guys to consider. So how sophisticated is he as a buyer? Where is he on the buyer sophistication spectrum? Right? So take a quick moment, answer that. We're going to come back to that in a second. But that definitely influenced how I position and angled that call as well. It's just his overall, like, level of sophistication. It was a big deal for me that changed how I was able to kind of angle the conversation. So sweet. Do you guys have fun today? Y'all enjoy this? Give me a fire emoji if you guys enjoyed this. If you guys are on the replay as well, put a hashtag replay. Someone said super sophisticated and he's a driver as well. Good. So yes, he was very sophisticated because he's a salesperson, right? So one of the indicators of sophistication is how much experience they have in marketing and sales. And this guy is an industry leader in the roofing sales game. He knows the fucking drill, right? But remember, the best magic trick to fool a magician is a basic magic trick, right? So I still did all the basics. I did all the fundamentals, but how I did a couple little things were nuanced, right? And so that changed the overall structure or the feel of the combo. But he was very sophisticated, and then someone read him as a driver. And yes, he would be considered a driver, and he was probably a high D, high I, or like a driver expressive, because he came off like a driver expressive. He came off not very analytical, at least from my read, and he came off as an expressive, which, you know, Canadians are generally nicer than Americans, and he had that like friendly Canadian vibe. So he came off as like a driver expressive was my read on his situation, and that he was relatively sophisticated. And so by me being able to read all those, that's how it helped me structure that conversation and then angle it to where it needed to go. So this was a lot of fun. This was one of the more fun calls today, you guys. I'm super grateful for all y'all that came out. If any of you guys are looking to go to the next level, you want to take your sales game to the next level, if you're on the business owner side or you're on the sales rep side, either way, we got stuff that we can do with y'all. If you want to do that, go to scalewithmikemark.com. There's an application. Fill it out. It gives me insight as to your situation. From there, I'll reach out personally and actually have a conversation with you and figure out kind of where you're at, where you want to be, and what we got to do to get you there. So if you guys want to take the next steps, you want to level up your sales game, you want to go for mastery, you want to be able to really scale your production, whether you're a sales rep or a business owner fast, then scalewithmikemark.com is the place to go for that. That's my plug. As well, I got a whole bunch of new stuff that we're going to be dropping probably over the next few months, so just keep an eye out, you guys. We're having a lot of fun. I've been really trying to reorganize some things, so just keep an eye out. We're going to be dropping new shit here in a little bit. I've been reorganizing a lot more plays and really solidifying training frameworks even deeper and better, and so we're having a lot of fun over here. I appreciate you guys. That's all we got time for today. Rewatch this as well, especially if you go back to that call segment specifically, and both call segments specifically, with the context of what I just explained at the end, you'll see it with new eyes. So I encourage you guys to go back to those call pockets and where I talked to each of our 2 prospects today. Listen to them again with what I talked about after the fact, and take note of what you observe. It's just like when you watch a movie the second time, you see completely different things than the first time you watched the movie. You guys, if you guys listen to those callbacks, or if you listen to those calls again, you guys are gonna see completely different stuff, because now your mind's aware of kind of how it plays out, and so you're able to catch small little details of what I'm doing. So, hope you guys enjoy that. I had a blast today. Thank y'all for showing up. Thank y'all for showing out. This was one of our best ones so far. You guys have been fire on the chat. I can see you guys are driving home the lessons. Hit me up with any messages when you guys are winning off of this stuff. Like, I get so fucking fired up when you guys are like, yo, I closed a deal, or I just put this into play. It worked like a charm. Like, hit me with that shit on Messenger. That makes my day. If you guys want to repay a favor any kind of way, that's one way to do it. So, appreciate y'all. That is it. Now go close some deals, change some lives, and make